Welcome to Michiana Main Lines. Today we're going to be looking at some of the ex-Wabash across northern Indiana, specifically the PGRV or Pigeon River Railroad, which ran from the Ashley Hudson area to Walcottville. And that's a line that was in operation in the 80s. And in the early 80s, Norfolk Southern was looking to abandon much of the line across northern Indiana, and the South Milford Grain Company decided that they needed access in South Milford. So they leased a line in 1984. Then in 1992, a good part of the operation became the Indiana Northeastern, and the Walcottville to South Milford trackage was abandoned in 1992. So we'll be taking a look at that area as well as some other locations across northern Indiana, like North Liberty, Lakeville, Wyatt, and New Paris at the time that the line was abandoned. So kind of some interesting stuff to look at over there, but most of our concentration will be on the PGRV, and we'll even have some video at the very end. So let's get started now in the South Milford area. Get an overview shot here of South Milford, the way it looks today. It looks a lot different than it did back in the 80s and 90s. It looks like they have upgraded a lot of their facility, and all of the old elevator structures seem to have been done away with. Here's some looks now at the PGRV locomotive. That's a GP7 ex-Detroit and Toledo Shoreline, and that was it parked at the grain elevator in South Milford. We'll have some other shots of it here now, get it from different angles, and here's another look at it. Some hopper cars there in evidence. That was the spur alongside the elevator. To the right would be the ex-Wabash main line and passing siding. Here's a forward shot. Kind of see the slow moving symbol there. There's some hopper cars again evident. Here's a little more distant view looking at the grain elevators. There's the Wabash main. The Wabash kind of had a rusty appearance to their ballast. We'll kind of see that more later when we look at some of the removal shots. That might be due to the type of ore they used. I think it was a specific ore that was used for ballast on this line. But we will move forward here and take a look at some more. Here's another look. That one gets a little bit of the signage on the South Milford grain. So that's kind of a look at the past. Next up here, I think we will get into the New Paris area. That's kind of the way things look now with a satellite overview. A lot more industrialized now than it was back in the 80s when track was being removed. The red line kind of shows roughly where the track kind of came through, but I left room so you can see like the tree line there, which is more closer to exactly where it went. And even on the right hand side you'll see some trees which kind of marks where it probably went through, but not much trace of it anymore in the New Paris area. It's been pretty much masked by all the development that has taken place there. But that's pretty much where it went through. The old Highway 15 over on the left, that was actually an overpass, but that was removed when the track was removed, and so now it's all flat through the area. There's the overpass location right there, but that now is long gone. And we'll get some close-up shots here of what that looked like at track removal. This was looking eastward. Again, much more industrialized in this area now, but you kind of see a what might have been a passing siding or a lead into some industry trackage there. But again, the kind of rusty looking balanced rails, very rusty, as that track hadn't been operated for a while. But this again was removal looking east out of New Paris. There's some of that sidetrack over there. Not exactly sure when this was, probably about the mid 80s or so. Now here's another look looking the other direction. Track was abandoned in 84, but when it was actually removed it could have been 85. I don't remember specifically, but there we see a signal back there for the Conrail Marion branch, which crossed over. In a really far distance you can see that overpass, but again that is gone now. But the Marion branch is still alive and well. Under NS is the Marion district. But this is how it looked when the track was being removed, just a pile of ties. Now let's move on here a little bit further. Here's going to be a couple mystery photos we're going to take a look at. Maybe someone out there can help identify exactly where these were. This was somewhere between Lakeville and Wakarusa, I am pretty sure. And there we kind of had a low clearance interesting bridge. I'm not sure if that was an actual public road or if that was a farmer access road. I'm really not sure. I thought it was a public road, but who knows? I can't seem to match this up anymore at this point, looking at satellites to narrow down where this location was. Could be that the road is gone, maybe it's been repaved, and nothing just seems to match with this location anymore. We'll have another shot here shortly, getting a look at the upper part of that bridge and looking what would have been eastward. This was still when the line was still operated out past Wyatt into Wakarusa, but it didn't have much to go after this picture was taken. But again, I just cannot identify specifically where this was, so maybe somebody out there knows. But we will advance here a little bit, go a little bit farther west. This was somewhere near Lakeville and west of Pine Junction. This section of track was abandoned in the late 90s when the CSX NS purchase of Conrail took place. This line was no longer needed to reach South Bend, so it was abandoned from here to Dillon to the west, and of course into South Bend from the south, as NS had plenty of access to what they needed from the main line and the old Kankakee branch or NIPSCO secondary branch to reach places like the ethanol plant and the other business they had. But that's what kind of look like they're still operating. Here's a good shot of Pine Junction, one of the great Stromback photos. This was John's. Wabash in New Jersey, Indiana, and Illinois. There you kind of see the three tracks of the Wabash, and back behind the car there you kind of see the curved track which led up to the NJI&I, which was the access into South Bend. But again, this was how things looked way back when. Another shot up here now. This is same train we saw earlier. This is in North Liberty, just a little bit east of North Liberty. Again, all the track in North Liberty went with the abandonment in the late 90s when this track was no longer needed by NS to reach South Bend. But that was the train moving through that area. This possibly could have been the last train bringing cars out of the Wakarusa area, but I'm not sure about that. Now we'll take a look at another shot here. Let's see, where will we go? Oh, we need to look at a good Wyatt shot we have here. Another Stromback, Jeff this time. And this was in, look, I can't make out the date from here. I think this was in the early 80s, because this track was abandoned in the late 80s. But that's Wyatt, Indiana. That's looking westward. You kind of see a siding over there by that building. There was an attempt by an individual to purchase or lease this line in the late 80s when it was abandoned, but that didn't go anywhere, probably due to lack of funds, I would imagine. But this was a good shot of operation earlier on. So I think that pretty much takes most of the stuff we have here to show for this. We will kind of conclude with a little bit of video that we do have of the Pigeon River. So I'll kind of take a look at that. I hope you've enjoyed this. Like, subscribe. Next up will be a video of the NS line through South Bend and Mishawaka, kind of doing a CSI forensic look at some of the old spurs that used to run off of the line. Some are still visible today, some not so much, and some nobody has any idea of, but we'll take a look at that. So anyway, like, subscribe. We'll see you later.